she's just evil. Like, there's nothing like her.
Why would she even tweet that? Like, don't you have
I think she just sits around in her evil lair whenever she runs out of Eye of Newt and small children to boil.
Hillary Clinton is one of the most disgusting human beings on the planet.
Very much so.
Always has been, always will be, and will be inserting clips on her response to Benghazi several times throughout the interview. I want to show who she is.
Hillary Clinton is back in the spotlight again, and this time it's not a polished journalist or a rival politician stepping in. It's Tyrus, the former wrestler turned political commentator, and trust me, he's not holding back. Tyrus has thrown open Hillary's closet, and let's just say the skeletons inside aren't sitting quietly. They're dancing right out in the open. This isn't some gentle roast. It's more like a full-on smackdown, taking aim at the strange contradictions in Hillary's career like a steel chair hitting hard in the middle of a wrestling ring. So buckle up, because what's coming next feels less like political commentary and more like a royal-level takedown.
Every time she talks, you kind of get why Bill did what he did. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, it's kind of like, again, I don't condone, cheating, but that's your morning.
Yeah.
You gotta kiss that before you go to bed at night, and then you gotta sleep with one eye open.
Yeah.
Because your buddy Epstein didn't off himself, and she has all this extra footage cut up in the closet. Like,
Before we dive in, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. You're not going to want to miss this breakdown. Hillary Clinton has always walked into the American political scene like she owns the room, backed by a resume so long it could pass for a CVS receipt. And yet, even after decades of influence, huge amounts of money, and deep insider connections, she still hasn't fully convinced the public she's the one they want in charge. It's almost impressive in a bittersweet way, like that one kid in gym class who swears they're the star player but still stumbles during the layup line.
We hear things that we find so fundamentally hard to believe. I mean, I'm in that category. People say things like, oh, that could never happen. But having been a close observer now for quite a number of years of our current president, you have to suspend your disbelief. And you have to do two things simultaneously. You have to both listen to what he says, because he often telegraphs what he...
This is the same woman who managed to lose to Donald Trump. Yes, that Donald Trump. That's not just a defeat. It feels like a record-breaking collapse in modern politics. Imagine spending years polishing your image, lining up donors from Wall Street to Silicon Valley, and building what looks like the perfect campaign machine, only to stumble at the finish line because you didn't even show up in Wisconsin.
They wanted us to believe it was a big naughty redhead that was going around, was going to ruin the world and do all kinds of bad things to us. Turns out the catfish was, hey, we don't boo here, but for this one time, you may boo.
But Hillary's biggest problem has always been her contradictions. She presented herself as a champion of the working class while collecting $225,000 checks for private speeches to Goldman Sachs. That doesn't feel relatable. It's like showing up to a backyard barbecue in an outfit made of caviar and saying, "Don't worry guys, I totally understand your struggle." The disconnect couldn't have been more obvious.
An apology tour for lying to the American people and ruining 2 years of Trump's presidency and affecting elections with Russiagate, impeachment, and fake dossiers. Oh yeah, let's not forget the P-tape. Turns out it was the Democrats and the lefty media peeing down our backs and telling it was rain.
Her instincts, if you can even call them that, have felt like a broken GPS. The kind that tells you to turn left straight into a river. From Iraq to healthcare, Hillary has often chosen the wrong path, only to switch directions later when the polls made it safer. That's not leadership. That's hesitation dressed up as growth.
He was the most unlikable candidate in the history of presidents, and that's saying a lot.
But Biden says the same thing.
He's number two. When Biden says something, does anyone be like, oh?
Right.
No, they used to go, oh.
And then, of course, the emails. The story that just wouldn't go away. Hillary's private server felt about as secure as a teenager's Tumblr account. And yet, we were expected to see it as no big deal. This wasn't just misplacing a diary. This was the Secretary of State handling sensitive information on a setup that seemed easy to break into. Add Benghazi to the mix and you get controversies that became lasting symbols of poor judgment. Her 2016 run was supposed to be a coronation, but instead it turned into a lesson in what not to do in politics.
Dealing with the Hillary Clinton emails from a couple years ago saying how she should be in jail and all this other stuff. And it's just point to point to point to point exactly what just happened, proving once and for all it had absolutely nothing to do with Hillary Clinton's emails. It had everything to do with attacking Hillary Clinton, and these people are just so desperate for it that that's what they went for. And of course the hypocrisy is just out on stage for everybody to see.
And when it all fell apart, the excuses started pouring in. Russia, Facebook memes, James Comey, Bernie supporters, sexism, you name it. It felt like everything and everyone was blamed, except the person who actually ran the campaign. The truth is, Hillary losing wasn't some grand conspiracy. It was a reality check that had been building for years.
But, you know, Tyrus, and this goes back to 2016, people were reluctant to talk to pollsters and say, I like Donald Trump. And now, fast forward 8 years later, essentially they're saying, if you like him, you're in a cult. Do you really want to be in a cult?
If the cult that Hillary doesn't like, yeah, sign me in. What do I need? Is it a red hat? I'll get.
Her time as Secretary of State wasn't much smoother. Sure, she logged more miles than a frequent flyer, boasting about visiting over 100 countries, but traveling a lot doesn't mean you nailed foreign policy. It just makes you an expensive tourist with a government plane. And her efforts to connect with younger voters? Awkward, to say the least. Watching Hillary try to charm millennials was like watching Windows 95 attempt a TikTok dance.
When the losing side, or someone, she's just a very unlikable person and will say anything to get this attention. But here's the thing, it's changed. America has changed. We no longer listen to that stuff. Now when they say it, we go, that's why I didn't vote for you.
Here's the interesting part. She had every advantage you could imagine. Money, power, name recognition, decades of experience. And yet people still didn't trust her. She ended up feeling less like a leader and more like a political algorithm, reciting focus group approved lines. Add the Clinton family baggage to the mix and her inevitability started to feel more like entitlement. Americans just don't like being told who they're supposed to follow.
Her logic makes no sense, but why would she say it? You know, I mean, we can't just keep saying TDS. It's something else. It is, I think I think they're ego damaged people.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't make any sense.
Look, she was going to be the first woman president.
Yes.
And who
Isn't
is
that
she?
the
But if Hillary Clinton is anything, it's resilient. She's weathered more scandals than most politicians could ever survive. Whitwater, Travelgate, Lewinsky, Benghazi, emails. Any one of those could have ended someone else's career. Yet Hillary kept moving forward, chin held high, as if sheer persistence would eventually make history hand her the crown. But over time, that persistence started to feel less inspiring and more mechanical, leaving behind a legacy defined not by progress, but by distance from the people she aimed to lead.
Woman should be in jail. Literally, Hillary Clinton should be behind bars. And so should the people who worked for her who did this. This is so blatantly corrupt. She wanted to distract from her email scandal. She cooked up a plan to accuse Trump of being a Russian agent in order to distract from her own legitimate scandal. She made up a scandal about Trump being a Russian.
In the end, Hillary Clinton wanted to be seen as a trailblazer, a fighter, and the ultimate glass ceiling breaker. Instead, she's remembered as the woman who lost to Donald Trump. After all the battles, scandals, speeches, and spin, her legacy comes down to one harsh truth. She thought she would be president. She believed she should be president. But in the end, she wasn't.
The greatest achievement Trump ever did when they read the history books, it'll be like, maybe there'll be these wars will be solved in economy, but then there'll be a two-page spread on how he beat Hillary and how that will always be. He'll be on Mount Rushmore for that. They should do like called a Mount Trump, where they have the heads of the people he beat. So they've already got Hillary, and they got Kamala, and then maybe he can run again. You know, we still don't know, right?
One of his best lines ever was when he was first elected, and the people around him said, "We got to go for Hillary now. Lock her up, lock her up." And he said, "Nah, just let it go. She lost. She's going to have to live with that for the rest."
The Clinton Foundation, Uranium One, and the basket of deplorables comment are just a few examples of the self-inflicted wounds that continue to accumulate. Every time she tried to shape the story, she ended up feeding the image of being out of touch and elite. The irony? She probably would have been a capable president, detail-oriented, policy-savvy, disciplined. But voters don't pick homework raters, they pick leaders. And Hillary never quite figured out how to close that gap.
Just this sort of haggard old woman. I ran against her in 2006 for the Senate. She was riding high. She was going to be the first woman president. The world was at her feet, and now look at her.
Yeah, is that the greatest?
I mean, you don't even want to look at her.
Done. The greatest achievement Trump ever did when they read the history books. It'll be like maybe there'll be these wars will be solved in economy, but then there'll be a two-page spread on how he beat Hillary and how that will always be. He'll be on Mount Rushmore.
So, what's left? A Shakespearean-style tragedy crafted by cable news writers. Hillary Clinton had the ambition, the power, the drive, but not the connection. She wanted the crown, but never mastered how to win the kingdom. And more than any scandal or headline, that's why history will remember her not as the first female president, but as the most famous almost.
That's true.
You know, per Katie's point earlier, though, she is essentially, if you follow her logic, violent crime, good, leave it alone.
In trying to make history, she did, but in the harshest way possible. She became the first woman to come close and the first major party candidate to lose to Donald Trump. Instead of shattering the glass ceiling, she became it, unbreakable, transparent, and standing in the way of anyone else moving forward. And maybe that's Hillary Clinton's lasting legacy. A reminder that inevitability isn't a campaign strategy, entitlement isn't a leadership trait, and even the most determined climb can still end in a fall.